Part 1. You will hear a phone conversation in which a student contacts a job agency for a summer position. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Now listen and answer questions 1 to 7.
Hello, is this the Summit Recruitment Agency?
Yes.
Hi, I called earlier. My name's Daniel. Daniel Roberts. I spoke with someone before and provided my personal information. If you recall, I'm the student searching for a temporary job during my summer break.
Oh, right. I actually have your details here, but we still need to complete a few more sections.
Yeah, that's what I was told, and that's why I'm calling. What else do you need?
Well, we need to confirm your highest level of education. You're studying for a degree, I assume?
Yes, but I haven't finished yet. I'm majoring in architecture. It's quite fascinating. Some of my classmates are into graphic design, so I have an interest in that as well.
Oh no, your main degree subject is architecture. There's often demand for graphic designers, actually. Have you worked with design software before?
No, not really. I just experiment with it occasionally at university, but I almost landed a job as a junior designer once. The only actual job I've had was as a retail assistant, believe it or not.
Well, at least you've had experience dealing with customers. What about hobbies? Sometimes they can indicate useful skills.
I don't do much outside my studies. However, I play chess occasionally at the university chess club. It's next to the badminton courts, but I'm not really into that.
Board games can help develop critical thinking, so I'll include that. But of course, employers mainly focus on key skills. What would you say yours are?
Well, I'm in my 3rd year now studying structural analysis and urban design, but I'd say drafting is my strongest skill. Much better than, say, my construction knowledge, which isn't my best area, to be honest.
Okay. Construction skills are always useful, but so are drafting ones, so we may be able to find you a role in that area. But what salary are you expecting?
Oh, I'm open to anything reasonable. What's the usual rate? $14.00 a month or $18.00?
I'll just note $1,600, all right?
That sounds good to me.
When are you available to start? Would 2 days from now work?
Absolutely. Even sooner, actually. Just give me a call and I'll be ready immediately. Though I'll admit, it'll take me a few days to adjust to early mornings.
All right. That's nearly everything, unless there's anything else you'd like to add that might strengthen your application.
Not much. I ride a bicycle, but that's irrelevant. I'm sociable, but I suppose everyone says that, right? I can speak another language, though.
That might be an advantage, depending on which language. Is it French? A French speaker would be valuable.
German, actually. Some of my childhood friends were from Austria, so I picked it up from them.
Okay, I'll include that, but I'm not sure how useful it'll be, to be honest.
All right, thanks for your help. Hopefully I'll find something soon.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 8 to 10.
Before I go, can I ask one last question? What do employers usually prioritize when interviewing candidates?
Ooh, many things. Being hardworking, disciplined, and dedicated to the job is great, but surprisingly, it can sometimes mean you lack creativity or innovative thinking. Employers appreciate individuals who can approach tasks differently and think independently, as they say, outside the box.
I guess experience plays a role, though?
It depends. If it was a repetitive job with little problem solving, it might not mean much. But since businesses are made up of people, it's essential to get along with colleagues. There's no point in hiring someone who doesn't fit in, right? That just creates issues. In fact, I'd say being cooperative and approachable ranks higher than formal qualification.
I see. And that's all assessed during the interview, right?
Yes, along with your qualifications, past experience and approach to the role, such as flexibility with tasks, availability for overtime or long hours when required. But those expectations are quite standard. What truly matters is how you handle problems. Issues always arise, mistakes happen, and someone needs to resolve them smoothly. People who can do that effectively are highly valued.
Got it. That's really insightful.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 1. Part 2. You will hear a talk about a wellness center, its fitness programs, facilities, and health benefits. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome to the Vitality Hub Wellness Center, a facility that, as the title implies, is not just about quick fixes, but aims to establish a sustainable and realistic approach for your long-term well-being. That's what makes us unique. For instance, we could instantly assign you an intense workout regime, expecting you to train rigorously every day, but such a routine would likely lead to burnout. That's why the first step is a 90-minute assessment where we carefully evaluate your habits, current condition, and future aspirations. A key aspect of this assessment involves reviewing your dietary intake. It makes little sense to work out here, shed a few kilos, only to regain them shortly after. You'll need to demonstrate commitment and self-discipline when it comes to diet. We'll put you on an exercise regime suitable for your level of fitness, so that will involve a test, where we will take you through some activities, then measure your heart rate and blood pressure to assess your physical condition. These will be checked at every follow-up consultation, which occurs monthly rather than every 6 months, as seen in many other centers. Regarding our exercise equipment and training plans, you'll need to determine whether your goal is strength building, endurance, or overall health improvement. Decide which of these 3 areas you want to focus on, and we'll create a personalized strategy for you.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
But remember, gaining excessive muscle is not ideal for everyone. Often it's more beneficial to consider 2 basic goals: lean muscle tone and stamina. Or, if you're a woman, maintaining balanced physical and mental wellness. Now, if you're committing to working out here, it's important to reflect on your motivations. Strength training is particularly appealing to men, often looking to make a strong impression, and increased muscle mass certainly helps build confidence. If that's your aim, our high-intensity resistance machines will be ideal for you. Moving on to other advantages, one of the primary ones is relieving daily stress. The longer the physical activity, the more effective it is in reducing tension. Therefore, engaging in racket sports can be beneficial, as can aquatic exercises, but what's even better, as most runners will agree, is their chosen sport. We provide a variety of treadmills, which remain a favorite option. Jogging is an excellent way to boost fitness, as are our Pilates sessions. However, once again, let's not overlook racket sports, which, in my view, offer the best overall improvement to both mental and physical health. The fast-paced nature of the game, combined with its competitive aspect, pushes you toward peak fitness levels. These, of course, are the ultimate reasons for joining, but remember, the center is filled with like-minded individuals, all eager to connect and share valuable insights. The Pilates sessions include pre- and post-class gatherings, so you'll have plenty of opportunities to see others, although most attendees will be dedicated Pilates fans, limiting the diversity of interactions. However, whether you're attending a class, swimming, or using the equipment, everyone heads to the shower area, where you'll find engaging discussions and a great way to socialize, not like the reception area, which tends to be quiet as members head straight in to begin their workout. Naturally, the front desk is available to assist with inquiries and provides various information pamphlets, but for a wider range of local updates and community announcements, check out the bulletin board in the Pilates studio, where you'll find a wealth of notices, flyers, and articles to explore.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 2. Part 3. You will hear two students, John Colon and Julia, discussing their university orientation program. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 24.
Hi, Julia. How do you feel about starting university here?
A little bit nervous, but I'm confident I can handle it. This orientation program seems like it will help us a lot.
Sure. I'm looking at the timetable here myself. It seems that there are choices available.
I can see. So, what are you going to do Monday afternoon? In the morning, we all have the opening lecture, but it looks like we have a choice later that day, as you said.
Well, the careers lecture might be helpful, but I am interested in the Uni tour. It's probably too early to be thinking of careers now anyway, and I want to know what's what at this new university, so I'm doing the tour.
All right, I'll come along with you. Might learn something interesting after all. We haven't seen much of this place yet, and we will be spending 4 years here.
Tuesday is another full day too. In the afternoon, there's a lecture about study skills, but that morning offers another choice.
Library tour or student union induction. What do you think?
I think the student union is very important, but we can go there anytime, right? So we should take advantage of the library tour while it's being offered. Maybe the week after, you and I can go to the student union.
The library it is then. Now, Wednesday has a free session in the morning, but after lunch, there's a choice between visiting the computer lab or attending a lecture on our legal rights.
Well, law and rights are important, but computers are the basis of everything these days, so I'm going to the computer lab.
Don't you think knowing our legal rights is equally, if not more, important? We live in a very litigious and complex society now.
Sure, but it's something we can pick up later, so let's leave that one out.
Okay.
Let me see the timetable. Thursday is a free day, and the week winds up with some celebrations on Friday afternoon. It looks like a fun choice, too. There's either a barbecue on the main lawn or the dance.
I never pass up the chance to eat something. What about you?
If I can get a free meal, I'll take it any day, and I'm not good at dancing anyway.
Well, that's that decided, right?
Guess what, Julia? There's another interesting thing in this orientation booklet, and it looks important. About a style guide.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
What's that?
Take a look yourself. It seems to be a set of rules regarding how to present written work, essays, and that sort of thing to the lecturers. They want a uniform style of presentation.
I can see. So everything we hand in must have a header and a footer?
A what?
A header and a footer. The footer is at the bottom of the page, and the header is at the very top. That's why they call it a header. You know, that little bit of writing giving details about the work. And they also want the word count. Why do they need that?
I guess because the lecturers will specify the number of words they want for their assignment, and they want to be sure students follow this.
And even the heading on the page has to be a specific dimension. 16 points, and bold print, and underlined.
And subheadings are 14 points, and the font has to be Arial for everything.
Yes, the main text is Arial too, as you said, and the size is 12 points, with the header and footer being slightly smaller at 10 points each. Well, it seems logical. The size of everything is in proportion to its importance, but why do they need the spacing of the main text to be 1.5? The header and footer are different. They're only single spaced.
Probably to allow the teacher to insert comments or corrections, or just to make it all more readable, I suppose.
And we need wide margins on the left, right, top, and bottom, probably for the same reason. Lots of space to allow the addition of comments. That's a bit scary, actually. It seems to assume we will be making mistakes.
And look what they want in the header and footer. The header has the name of the work.
Not the name of the teacher?
No, the work, but surely the teacher's name must go somewhere. Ah, here it is. It goes in the footer.
Okay. I'd say this is all logical. If a page is lost, say, falls to the floor, then with all this information, it can always be traced back to the teacher involved.
Right, as you say, all very logical.
That is the end of Part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 3. Part 4. You will hear a lecture about the history, purpose, and evolving role of public squares. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 34. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 34.
Most of us are familiar with a public square. We gather there, relax there, and create some of our best memories in these places. But what is a square? Basically, it can be defined as an open, or at least semi-open, space, surrounded by a variety of structures, sculptures, and benches, reserved and maintained for the enjoyment of all residents. There are usually rules about the types of activities allowed, and sometimes there are additional features such as fountains, seating areas, or designated zones for street performances and cultural events. For this reason, if there are flower beds, they are regularly trimmed, and this also helps in preventing the spread of weeds. A well-maintained square actually requires a lot of workers to take care of it, and even more so if it displays historic statues, rare plants, or artistic installations, in which case it is called a heritage plaza. On the other hand, if the square is large and isolated enough, it is sometimes recognized as a conservation zone, left untouched and protected from modern modifications to allow architectural and cultural history to remain preserved, but it is the city square, the type of space most people are accustomed to, that I want to discuss now. These areas preserve open-air environments for the benefit of city dwellers, most often for passive activities such as allowing people to sit on benches, admire the surroundings, or simply observe the daily bustle of urban life, and such passive activities are certainly valuable. Continuing with the topic of squares, it might surprise you to learn that once there were none.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 35 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 35 to 40.
1,000 years ago there was no need, as towns and settlements already had vast marketplaces, open courtyards, and meeting spaces for social gatherings. For example, in Asia, these busy markets were often chaotic and even perilous, full of merchants shouting over each other and the potential risk of theft or stampedes in crowded alleys. As a result, myths emerged about spirits roaming these areas at night and superstitions about avoiding deserted streets after dusk. However, with the rapidly increasing urban population, the original open marketplaces and public spaces were encroached upon. Stalls and buildings were erected as cities expanded, bringing with them pollution and congestion, but it was only with the rise of modern urban planning that people realized public spaces needed to be safeguarded, ensuring residents still had access to communal areas where they could escape the pressures of city life. The first square intentionally created for that purpose is often considered to be Hawthorne Square in Edinburgh. This was in 1853, on land donated to the city by a wealthy textile manufacturer. With such a significant donation, valued at around £80,000, the municipal authorities decided to contribute £8,000 of their own funds to enhance its appeal. As a result, they employed a landscape architect, William Thornton, who designed winding pathways through carefully placed flower gardens, all centered around an elegant marble fountain. In many ways, this became the model for later city squares, including the well-known Trafalgar Square in London. However, if we were to identify the type of square that most people recognize, it would be the much smaller neighborhood plaza. Although they may be modest, they are becoming more and more recognized as sanctuaries because of their placement in densely populated areas, giving individuals a fleeting link to the outdoors. Many urban planners now argue that this connection is vital, as deep down, humans have a natural inclination towards spacious environments, and the dense, structured cityscape often conflicts with our inherent preferences. This understanding has led to the revitalization of many city squares that had been neglected for years, such as those in Tokyo or Paris, and in fact some cities, such as Vancouver, are internationally renowned for their abundance of beautifully designed public squares, including a world-famous heritage plaza.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers to Part 4.